She stretches my body, she does the same thing to my mind. Sometimes I wonder how I was lucky enough to find someone so sweet, so genuine and real. Now every piece of me is opened up, and I'm feeling love, 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 love. She tells me she appreciates everything I do. Well, I tell her I think she's so ridiculously cool. She's my shining bright, my beautiful light. And I think I am gonna tell her tonight I'm in love, 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 love. She's so conscious and she's so understanding, and well, my heart skips a beat when I think of all we're planning. 'Cause she's so thoughtful, she's so fun to be around. Well, one thing's for sure, well, I finally found my love, love, my love, 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 love,
without you, you stay on my mind. Oh my, 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 my. And I just wanna hold you tight. I'm thinking, wishing you were here tonight. All night. Imagine being alone. It seemed inside me for so long, until you came along. All hope was gone. Right now and close my eyes. Feel so right. Feel so right. Oh my, oh my, my. Take my hand and come with me to witness ecstasy tonight. Oh baby, feel so right. Oh baby.
You walk by and I can taste you on my fingertips. My body lingers in your ocean, that's a sweet abyss. You got this motion anytime you need a ride. Forever satisfied, like a feather you will glide.
Imagine being alone. It seemed inside me for so long, until you came along. All hope was gone. Right now and close my eyes. Feel so right. Feel so right. Oh my, tonight. Give you all the love I have to give inside my heart. All the love that I have inside me. Feel so right. Tonight. Oh my.
Hello. Yeah, I would do that one day. Probably. Sorry, I'm just trying to work. That's the stuff. It's sometimes like crazy here, but not today. Sadly, like okay, most of the days are boring, especially of the stuff that I'm doing and working on. I'm not sure if I could show you. One day, yes. Right now it won't even work. My current... Okay, so let me think if I have playable something that I can show you. So right now I'm just like practicing the resources and stuff and how to use them in GDScript and how it can be done. So my active game, I'm just need to finish the game. So the goal is to have a game to be finished. And that's the main goal, like any game, like the simplest stuff that I can find. So this should be an idle space kind of simulator, whatever. You have a spaceship, you can attach some stuff to it, and it flies. That's it. I mean, you build the things. So basically, you have a platforms. You click on them. You have basic garbage things that you can build. Some beam you can enable. It shows the beam. It's building. Then you can build something. It should be built, but it doesn't work because I broke it. So right now I'm just experimenting, trying to figure out which is the best way to do anything basically in Godot and GDScript. My background is software architecture, so I'm proficient enough with the software and trying to apply my knowledge to the GDScript in gaming is whole different like beast probably. So it breaks a lot of things in my mind basically. So I'm forcing myself to I used Unity before for quite a while. I started Unity when it was like 10 years ago. No, way more. So basically Unity was closed then. Nobody knew about it. It was like 0.8 version or something like that we got back then. And I was writing networking stack to the Unity. They had their own, but it was limited and a bit stupid, so I was rewriting their core networking stack, so we could use like global Unity and make multiplayer MMO for mobile phones. Back then, nobody had. I mean, there were iPhones, but nobody had phones that would, actually play a mobile game. It was like, oh, there's MMO for the phones. Like there were like one or two maybe tops, and those were like mostly text based. So back then, company that I worked for tried to make an actual multiplayer game. So yeah, right now I'm just like experimenting with all the stuff and trying to figure out the best approach that I can get. Oh, by the way, I have space. Look. Wait, can I? Yes. Boom. It's not working. Why is... Oh, this is weird. Space. Dino in space. Just thought that it's funny, kinda. Hi, Cooler, by the way. Yeah, I was forced to actually drive to work today. And probably will drive for the whole week, so... I won't be able to watch other streamers. At least by day. But I can close this. I have better game, actually. Maybe I should show... Do I have any finished game? I think I have some on H, but those are... I'm not considering them to be games because they are done by tutorial. Do I have H.io? Wait, I forgot that you should not... Wait, or I closed that. Oh, you see the secret, by the way. Oh, it disconnected. Ooh, probably. I will have it on the other screen. Yeah, because usually the main dashboard of H may have weird thingies on top. Log in. Log in. It doesn't want to log in. Okay, maybe I'll... Yeah, I need to prepare something for the actual to have on H and to have playable version of the game for all time. My actual problem that I don't know how to save player position. I mean, there are like many ways. I'm thinking like, how do I store the screen position? So where the enemy is on screen, for example. If I want to persist, like for example, like completely, not just the state of the spaceship, but for example, if I close my game and I start new, I want to like spawn my drones where they were before. So how do I do that? Yeah, and after like yesterday thinking and being super boring, because yesterday's stream was like way more boring than usually. I thought that my approach to the resources is wrong. I mean, it was almost right, but now I think I should treat all the resources basically as data, just clean data without anything else. My first approach to think about resources was to think about them as scriptable objects from Unity, but they are not the same. They can be used as the same stuff, but there are limitations, though forces on it, that does not allow them to be the same kind of. So in my brain, they were like more like scriptable objects that can do their own stuff with timings and whatever. And because of that, they could be kind of linked to whatever, have their own logic inside, and basically infinite loops running around. because of the async await and all the fancy stuff, which allowed like pretty neat things to be decoupled from the main code and having it like clean and stuff. So here, when I started trying to have the same stuff in Godot by resources, it's weird and it doesn't work the same way. So you don't have access to the tree. Basically, you need to provide access to the tree. To have infinite loop kind of ways, like throwing the stuff, for example, like a generator or something like that, there's no way to yield anything, so that's also don't work. You can wait for a signal or for a function, but you cannot wait for like for a yield happening. I think actually, let's try. Do they have a yield keyword? Yeah. Was removed to use await, so I can await for stuff. Would be nice if it would be possible to have a generator, but it's not. At least I don't see how it could be possible right now. Also adds. Yeah, the next step of like rethinking resources for me was to treat them as more like a database. So it's an object with its configuration being stored in a database. So, and most of the YouTube videos actually show you that approach, but that one is limited. So right now here I decide like, so what if I'll have draw model that will have all those like kind of things attached to that, and also it will have all the, for example, animations stored inside, all the other like fancy stuff. But now I think like I should not do that. This is not the stuff. Let's wait for the ads. Funny enough, I had more than just boxes in space before, and now I have less. Every day I have less than I had before. What the hell? $15. 10 seconds for the ads to end. I need to be more interactive somehow. And everything that will come after I finish the game. And I cannot finish the game because every day the game is less and less the game. And I have more ideas. And thank you for the good luck if you're still here. I really appreciate when someone tells me something. Actually, Dawn was made using Godot. Stop breaking stuff. Yeah, I mean, but they cannot. That's my vibe. That's what I do. I complain and break stuff. Maybe that's my feature. I can like make it. Try to search for the code in GitHub and break it. I don't know. Yeah, but my latest approach was to resource was as a database. So I was like kind of trying to make it more database and like less and less like moving some functions out of it. And now yesterday it kind of clicked one more time to not have it as a database, but as a data, just clean data, without anything. So, like, here I had this asset stuff, like state assets, that would have like all the textures that this object can have, like blueprint object, final texture, progress texture, and stuff like that. But I do not care about it. That's not the stuff that I want to see on this object and being duplicated and stuff. I need only one texture to be safe at tops, like that it currently has. Or maybe one, two, like the current object, the current texture, and the icon. That's it. And if there's like the progress texture, I should not have it here. I should ask the data, like, hey, give me your ratio. And if it gives me a ratio, then the actual scene can update the, or do whatever it likes. Basically, to draw whatever texture it likes based on the ratio. So it's not the responsibility, that's the correct word term actually, by the state asset here to know the textures and stuff. So this is probably one more, and I'm telling like it is the last, but it probably won't be last, refactoring. But here I'm dropping most of the stuff from the resource, because currently my latest approach to the resource is to have it as a data. So I can name that basically whatever I like. Not model, because it's not model anymore. It can be just data. Or it can be just a drone. Or it can be... What was the name? I forgot. It can be drone data, just simple drone, and there was some other word that I can't remember. So yeah, that's... And my active goal would be to try and have it as just as a data, basically, and move everything to the nodes. All of the logic, all the stuff that needs to be looping and whatever fancy thing is, can go outside to their own separate classes with states and with their responsibilities. The problem that I had, and I think right now, okay, if I have a player, or maybe here I'm having a drone, and drone can move on the screen, and let's say I'm closing the game, so I want to keep a position stored somewhere of this drone. Right now, let's say on the close, all the resources that I have will be stored. So they're constantly being written to the Discord somewhere. So they're like always up to date. But the drone, that's the node of the drone has the position. It's not the resource, it's the node itself has a position. So I need like kind of copying that to the resource every frame or like every set of time is a bit stupid, I feel. It's probably the solution, but it feels weird. So I'm thinking like, can I actually have my own position somewhere in the resource that would represent the correct value? Not that I actually need right now to store the position of the player and other like elements. Okay, I'm out of coffee. Now let's drink a bit of water and then continue. Today I wanted to start to fix my primary game to bring all whatever knowledge I have here to the main space game, simple space game. Hope I will manage it. I have like at least 1.5 hours to go, maybe 2.5 even. And again, it feels hot here. I don't know why. Also, let's put my clock on the charging station, charging whatever. It's not a station. It's probably a station, but it's small to be a called station. Good. So let's say I have a resource. This resource should know the state the active object is in, if it has state. I don't need to know the instance. Let's work without it right now. I should know my health, the state, build progress. I have it called build progress. And now I'm thinking, like, what should I do about it? Like, it's kind of correct, but this looks more like a wrapper, so I was thinking about the idea to not have build progress if the stuff is built. So I should have this value only if I need to. For example, in Godot, this is like experimenting, so this may work actually. So function init void, and now let's say if let's have those values. So var, maybe private var is build boolean equals true. So now, okay, if not is built, then return, no, not return, what they wanna have. Expected indented block, no, yes. Self dot there was a way to add a method. Can I do this even? Oh, I can do this. And I have, okay, so it can be a method or a function. Good. I mean, a function as a method or like the variable. Build progress, for example. And that is gonna be build progress new. And it's gonna be false. Okay, inlet assignment property build progress with value resource on the base resource drawn model. Okay, so how can I add variables? So self dot resources has signal, has method. Okay, has method. It's part of the object. Can I add an object? Coolest favorite song. Let's skip that. Validate property. No. This is get class, get. I can have get property by name. Can I add property? Okay, there's no get property. Okay, let's try Godot for add property to an object. Okay, that's a question. Really cool function. I remember that I could make a mirror of the thing and then to add like somehow. So using get property list. Okay, I don't know. Let's okay, so this could work, but not really. So I can store them as a dictionary if I need to. As extra resources, like export var dictionary. Extra data. Love that. Dictionary. Oops, it's working. Yes.
Allow me to show you something.
Okay, technically I may need the build progress right now. What does it have? Now I just need to figure out a way how to store that. Is my build progress good, or I should go revert to the previous method where I had just additional HP bar for that exact purpose. I kind of want to same mechanics as Age of Empires 4. So when you put the building and you build it, you have HP for buildings, but also the building's HP increases. And building can have different HP as your build progress, because it can be damaged while you are building it. So technically it can be 1 HP when you finish it, and also all instantly destroyed. Also it can be attacked while you build it, so if unfinished building has less HP, so as you build it, HP increases. Kinda. But I don't want to have those, you know, events like signals in the same place. So I decided, like, what if I'll have those separately somewhere, like progress here. Okay, let's go progress value and see how it goes inside. So I have all those signals on the progress value. I have those bars and I have all the events. So this is the best class yet I had created right now. What can I do about it? There's max value reached, so I can react to that.
What do you know about all the filth that's going on here, huh?
So build progress on itself set is finished. Yeah, there's no point in that. So let's, instead of the build progress, have I can have health points and build points. Progress value equals progress value dot new. Let's have like 3. Do I need to know the position? Yes. Let's know the position at least. Vector 2i dot 0. State by default it's idle. Movable. Right now it's only speed. Yeah, not gonna move them out yet. So extra things that can be used here. Is built through export var is enabled. Maybe false. Okay, how to store the target? Target should be a resource or a path to a node. Yeah, I will remove all of that. Now, also let's remove this. So those the ones that I need. Is building finished? Build finished. Signal. Maybe just build. And here it can be position enabled. Okay, there's no conflicts about it. Okay. Let's have a signal disabled and also status changed. Status changed. Enabled. Bowl. Okay, so that can be a drone. Function init. Drone. Let's have. Let's allow it like to be. Can I change its health? Yes, I can. So, yeah, let's have them public. So, health points of type progressive value. Oh, they cannot be. Okay. Never mind. They have definition on what is built means. And that's the thing. I wanna have that definition globally, and I don't want to drop the building points. The vibes, greetings. How is going? How is your IP checklist going? Have you hacked someone? This is weird because I asked like if you okay, never mind. My pronunciation probably was not great. You were told that there was a joke and probably you did not expose nothing. You exposed nothing. Exposed. Or like generally nothing was exposed. At least that's what I remember. If it was you. But I think it was you. Ad starting soon. Damn it. Good. I just was curious today, like, how fast can you figure out someone's IP address by knowing where they live, approximately? Like maybe not in major cities, but for example, if you know that the guy lives in small city, in some country, or like in small country, like me, for example, I live in Riga. So you technically can figure out what IP lists we have, like generally, and try to just randomly pick every IP. Like experiment, but yeah, you cannot see the traffic. Okay, that was dumb. I'm brain dead, no worries. That wasn't a crab. How can they know if it is built or not? You know what? Let's not store it. Let's not have this variable here. So I won't have this one. What I will have function is build. Return build points dot get max value equals. I need some like simple function that would do it internally. Get ratio function is maxed bool return max value is less or equals Then current value. Good. And now here I will just ask about it. So build points dot is maxed. Function is alive. Boolean return health points dot as a over. Current value is less than or equals to 0. Is alive more than 0. Okay, what about blueprint? Yeah, I don't need the blueprint texture and other stuff. They should go to the actual scene and they will have different scenes. Or not. Wait a second. Again, okay, I want to treat this as data. And let's say I'm having the core drone. But it can have like different textures, so if I have screens or something, then where it should go. I of course can create different scenes for each different drone, but they still should be part of the resource. Maybe they should be like part of different resource, not the drone itself. So okay, let's have it as a drone. I also can have like tags or some other elements on top of the drone. That's gonna go later. Okay, so I have a drone with all those accomplishments and things. Now let's go to the core module that is a mess. I don't want it to be a model, so it's gonna be a drone. Mm-hmm. Damn it, I have no idea the correct way, and no one actually. Why it's so hard? Why it's so hard to Google it or to ask? Okay, assert drone model. Yeah, because I don't have it anymore. Okay, that's core. Okay, this is wrong. Because I'm building a drone. I don't need those. I don't want to have them anymore. So can be moved to build module. Okay, build points is here just because it can have build points. Health is the same points. I will have them like this, so they could go side by side. Okay, what should go next? You know what, screw that. Let's rewrite it down to my original project. So should I copy that? Yeah, some values I will copy. So at least the build progress. Going space idle. So test drone level, the game is working this one, and the scene probably was not because yes, I was rewriting something. I don't remember what, but who cares. Now I need to remember what I was doing here. Okay, let's have a simple core. Simple core should have core data, basically, that the one that needs to be saved. So I don't care about the drone, and I don't care about anything else. Let's have export var data. Now wait, why drone? Core. Let's call it a core. Can I? No, it doesn't know the stuff. Yes. So core components, modules, actors. Yeah, that's actually a component. Core, simple core. Let's call it just core. Maybe core. I want to understand that it's not that it's actually data. Components are understandable, and the scripts also are. Okay, is it core module? Core module data? Core module. Screw that, let's have it as a data. That's kind of the first game that I'm gonna have like that. So core module data. Core module data. So what I need to know. Export var. I need to know about its okay, let's start like simple. Main texture. Main texture. Do I need to know it? Not that it changes. Probably I don't need to. Icon. That's the one that I need. Maybe not. Come on. Okay, let's go just watch YouTube. Maybe there are like multiple composition videos. Let's try that. Okay, which okay, this one you understand composition. No more inheritance.
Once I had a dream that made me sad. Have so many people.
Okay, this one may be interesting. Composition and okay, resources. Okay, let's look at this one. Oops, not the full screen. And I will enable sound for you too. Oh, there's a new function here. Submixer is called. Okay, routing, music.
Are an interesting weapon when creating an FPS shooter. They're not like any other weapon that you find in games. Most other weapons, you just fire once. The gun shoots in a straight line, you check for a hit, apply damage, it's super simple. But shotguns are an exception to the behavior of your standard FPS weapon. They behave so much differently. You have a shell that shoots pellets, and each one of those should do damage. It can be really difficult to design and balance such a weapon, but it's not one of those you can leave on the cutting room floor if you're making an FPS game. In some circumstances, the shotgun is my favorite weapon to use. In Crisis, I use it almost exclusively, going in stealth and popping out at close range to pick off an enemy, and then going straight back into the shadows while the NPCs went into a panic, only to repeat the process again and again. Likewise, in Halo, I love to have one around for those pesky, sword-wielding elites. Basically, in close range, it's the weapon I want to use. So, I absolutely need to design one for my FPS template. But first, a message from this video's sponsor, Brilliant.org. If you're looking for
Brilliant.
thousands of content, as you on
I use
topics,
it too,
things
by the
I
way.
use. And
Sometimes.
brilliant for spinning a shotgun with the FPS tutorial that I made last year. And I always answered, of course, it's so easy. All it is doing 9 to 12 raycasts instead of one, or loading multiple projectiles. It's no problem. But like everything in game dev, it's easier said than done. And to be honest, at its core, 9 to 12 raycasts are all you really need to make a shotgun, but when you're trying to design a weapon management system for your FPS, it does become a little bit more complicated. For instance, the way I designed the weapon manager in my FPS template for Godot was that when you press the shoot button, the game does one of two things. It raycasts from the center of the camera until it hits something, and then it will either do an additional raycast from the barrel of the weapon or launch a projectile in the form of a rigid body towards the collision point. All fine and dandy, but herein lies the first major issue. My weapon manager is handling all of the logic for firing the weapon, which would mean I will need to add a third variable to check if something was a shotgun and do the shotgun thing. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of this. This is like the same kind of thing like when your company does a massive layoff and they give you all the work that 3 other people used to do and they just expect you to do the same output, and then you're behind on everything and they think that you can't handle it, so they make you the and hand it off to someone else, and then so that person has to ask for it. Anyway, this is where I discovered the idea of composition. So what is composition? Well, at its most basic level, it allows you to reuse code by combining multiple classes together to create a more complex object. Basically, it's like Lego for programming. Take my weapon manager, for example. Right now, it is essentially a massive class that defines how a weapon works in my game, from shooting, reloading, to picking up and dropping weapons. It's all here. There is already some composition. If you follow the tutorial, you will know that the weapon manager relies on a weapon, which is a resource in Godot, and it provides the data from which the manager uses when performing its actions. And the resource holds a lot of other objects like weapon pickups and drops, which are
Okay. Show me.
it provides the
So weapon state machine, animation. Okay, weapon manager, weapon models. And weapon manager has a state machine. Blaster. Weapon resources.
weapon manager relies on a weapon, which is a resource in Godot, and it provides the data from which the manager uses when performing its actions.
Okay, weapon animations. So this is a database. This is the thing that I right now thought that maybe I should go out of, like away from. Weapon stats, current ammo, reserve ammo, and all the other fancy things. So he has stats separately from the animations. Stats are the data. Animations are like a database part.
And the resource holds a lot of other objects like weapon pickups and drops, which are their own objects.
Okay, behavior. Okay, what is this? Blaster M and spawnable object weapons.
So that's a form of composition
Weapon drop. Can be dropped. Yes, weapon drop.
right there. You can provide the object for each weapon, and the manager has nothing to do with them except determining if it can be picked up or telling the drop weapon where it should exist in.
Okay, question. Do you have a source code? Oh, of course. Okay. FPS. Oh, okay. There's an FPS template. Let's click that and see. I need more juice. Had Bob and okay. I don't need about it. Okay, download on H. Who is this guy? Looks like a cool guy. Chaff Games. Actually, I think I heard about him. Or maybe I watched his video before. Okay. So I like how FPS, how Godot is actually super small. Okay, project, foreign examples. Godot, paste, extract. So here it is, and let's open his project by import. Okay, let's see. Oh, so many of them. Okay, let's listen what he has to say.
Game world. A lot of people favor this design pattern in game design as it reduces the need for massive 500-line scripts that handle all of the behavior of a particular object. I
Okay,
could
behavior.
find all my weapon types within the weapon manager and use a big switch statement. These are called matching Godot, a la Undertale style. I could even do the same with pickup and drops, but it would massively reduce the ability for myself and others to create new weapons because each weapon would need to be defined by code. So how can we apply this exact same logic to make a shotgun? Well, it's pretty straightforward, really. We just need to restart
called
the shooting section
strategy.
of the weapon manager. So the first thing I did was pull everything out that relates to shooting and essentially just dump it into a new class called projectile. And when the player presses the button to shoot, the weapon manager will spawn a projectile. I would still consider the relationship between the weapon and the projectile an association. There are, however, a few variables that are still defined on the weapon resource that are intrinsically linked to the weapon resource. The damage, range, and spray pattern are still defined by the weapon. I think the range and the spray behavior being on the weapon makes a lot of sense. There's a really good argument for the damage to be on the bullet, which could give rise to a lot of cool design choices. Perhaps in the future I could add a modifier for a projectile to add or reduce damage. For now, I'm keeping it on the weapon, and of course these parameters are optional, so projectiles don't need them. You could override them if you wanted to in your project. I don't know, it's really up to the designer. So when the player shoots, all that happens is that we calculate the spray, which is a deviation from the center of the camera, and then load the projectile. And all the manager does at this point is call the set projectile function on the projectile, which passes on all these variables that are required for the gun to behave normally. Okay, so we did all that work and we're back to basically where we've started. We've got all our weapons working normally, but we still don't have a shotgun. So this is where I make everyone mad and I go back to inheritance. I haven't shown this, but I still have the hit scan and the rigid body projectile combined in this class. And if I was doing true composition, there would be some kind of initial hit scan object that is done to find the world position, and then you would either add the rigid body projectile or the hit scan component separately, depending on what you were making. That would be the best way to do this, obviously. I know, I was lazy and I ran out of time. I might separate them later. The main motivation for doing this would be to mostly eliminate unnecessary and empty variables when making either a hit scan or a projectile weapon. I don't think it would change too much in the behavior, but it won't change what I'm about to do next, which is create a subclass of the projectile for the shotgun. As I explained at the start, the shotgun as a weapon is entirely unique, so I need to create a script that inherits from the projectile class, and then we can override that set projectile function. The whole reason that I did all of this was so that you could do whatever you want at this point. It prevents all these options being
template pattern
on the weapon resource, and if it was all on the weapon, there would really only be one kind of shotgun because it wouldn't make sense to design multiple. That would be a little bit overwhelming. Since we're designing a shotgun, we also need to do something like 9 to 12 hit scans in a circle or some kind of pattern My secret hack for any predefined weapon spray is to use Path 2D. Think of it almost like drawing a mask. Okay, so I'm going to raycast off the camera in this shape. I'm going to do a second raycast from the barrel of the weapon, which is where we've spawned this projectile. So we still get that widening arc. It's much easier to design spray this way. You could also just define
Kinda genius.
and then choose points randomly inside of it. However, I prefer this designer approach. I add randomness as a variable that I can add to each X and Y point to get some variation, so it's different every time. Nothing super complicated though, but this is where the magic finally happens. Within the set projectile function, I can create a for loop to iterate over each point in the path, which finally gives me some of that shotgun action. Now,
And you don't
making
need
a
to
simple
calculate
shotgun
the
easy, getting the balance correct for making
sine, cosine
is a
stuff,
whole
so it's
other
faster,
ballgame.
way faster, because you
How we can handle this
pre-calculated the
spread
points and
with
then you
close
shoot them.
range being completely deadly and long range being totally useless. We don't want it to be too extreme on either end, which is why I'm using the Path 2D. It gives me gives me a much better visual indicator of how wide the shot is going to be. And even for the aim down sights, I can create a very tight circle and I can have no randomness that will be lethal, at least in my testing, up to 30 meters, which is probably not very realistic, but for game standards,
Yeah,
that's
20
actually
can
pretty
shoot
good.
one, but grouping
And
is
whether or
required,
not it's
okay.
something you want with this system, it's so easy to up and change the behavior of the weapon entirely. So if I got further down the line and I've decided that the shotgun's overpowered, well, guess what? I can just come in here and just widen the spray, or I can reduce the range as well. I'm really happy with it, and I'm going to leave it
Okay,
here.
this
I
is
will be posting a step-by-step tutorial for those who have followed the FPS tutorial and they want to add this in themselves.
kind of normal, but
Learn more
not
about refactoring
bad one. Okay, let's.
composition.
Okay,
So
I can
definitely
give
like and
him the like. Can I give him the like?
Shotguns are an interesting.
Okay, I gave him a like. Okay.
Resources are a powerful feature in Godot. They can be easily created in the editor, saved to disk, and store all sorts of useful information. Materials, sound effects, textures, all are resources and incredibly useful in their own way. But what if you could make your own? This isn't some hypothetical arcane power, but a real thing you can do, and rather easily too. In the editor, create a new script, set it to inherit from resource, and give it a class name. Now right-click in the editor, click New Resource, and search for whatever you set the class name to be. Select the right resource, and give it a name. You just created a totally custom resource. But what can you actually do with this? Well, for starters, you can create export variables in your script to define custom data. Here's a stat sheet resource that has export variables for health, attack, and defense. I can create as many of these as I want in the editor, change the values of their export variables, then assign them to enemies and NPCs in the game with ease. Anything you can create normally as an export variable will still work on custom resources, so get creative. You can even use other resources like materials and textures. Here's a resource that stores a bunch of materials.
Yeah, I
and
like
lets
the
you
name
pick a
stat
random
resource.
one. Why would you want that? I have no idea, but materials and lets you pick a random one. Why would textures? Here's a resource that stores a bunch of
Material picker. Okay, so this one has materials. By the way, this is Godot 3. Yeah, 3.4. Because like it has exported materials and arrays.
materials and lets you pick a random one. Why would you want that? I have no idea, but you can do it. Just like every built-in resource, your custom resource is an object at runtime. So if you change the value of a variable in the resource, everything that uses that same resource will see the updated value. If we give our player a little stat boost, anything that references the stat sheet will see the increase as well. You can also define methods and signals on custom resources. For example, if you use you can put a player on the resource, everything that uses that same resource will see the updated value. If we give a variable in the resource, everything that uses that same resource will see the updated value. If we give our player a little stat boost, anything that references the stat sheet will
it was
see
hard
the
to
increase as
figure
well.
out that they
You
are
can also
actually the
define
same.
methods
It looked like
and
the same,
signals
but
on
they are
custom
different first.
resources. For example, if you use the tool keyword at the top of your script, you can write methods that run in the editor. I use it in the stat sheet resource to define a setGet on the HP variable that lets me clamp it to a value between 0 and 255. Editor methods are nice, but let's take this resource functionality even further. For example, I have the shooter game with some test enemies. They're all instances of the same scene, but I can alter their mechanics with custom resources. Each enemy has an array of resources called death effects. When an enemy dies, they iterate over that array and call the trigger effect method on each resource that has it defined. Conveniently, I have a base enemy effect class that inherits resource and defines a trigger effect method. So if I want to create an effect that triggers when an enemy dies, I can just write a new custom resource that extends the enemy effect class. This one, for instance, is called timed explosion. It simply sets a timer and spawns an explosion effect.
Okay, so technically you path the object. And it passes self to the effect.
Method on each resource that has it defined.
Okay,
I have
okay.
a base enemy effect class that inherits resource and
So
defines
that's
a trigger effect
how
method. So
they
if I want to create
done.
an effect that triggers when an enemy dies, I can just write a new custom resource that extends the enemy effect class. This one, for instance, is called timed explosion. It simply sets a timer and spawns an explosion effect on timeout. If I drop this resource onto an enemy's death effects variable in the inspector, they'll explode shortly after they die. The other enemies, however, won't because they don't have a timed explosion resource in their death effects. Even though all the enemies share the same scene, I can completely change how they behave using only custom resources. Of course, we can still store custom data on these behavior-defining resources with export variables. I'll create one on the timed explosion effect that lets me change the countdown time. Now in the editor, I can create multiple variations of the same effect. Hopefully you're starting to see just how much custom resources can speed up your design
But
process.
this is dumb, like
Making
long.
new enemy varieties with this system is as easy as swapping some resources in the editor. I don't even need to script anything new if I've already programmed the resources that I want. Custom resources are clearly super easy to load and create in the editor, but they're also really easy to save as well. Take this save game custom resource I made that stores some player values like their position.
Okay,
and
position.
location.
How do I get the
You can
position?
actually set these values from a script at runtime, then save those changes by storing the resource on disk.
How?
Saving is as easy as calling resourcesaver.save, then passing a valid.
Okay, so you have a method that actually copies that and then it saves. So you manually do that.
And
Good.
a resource instance as parameters. For example, I'm going to save this gameplay data to user/resource-example/savegame.tres and pass my save game resource. Make sure you include the file name and extension in the path. Loading that resource from disk later is done using the tried and true load method. Just call it and pass in the same path that you saved the resource to. So, to recap, when I want to save the game, I create an instance of my custom save game resource, set the position and rotation values I define, and save it to disk using resourcesaver.save. Then, when I want to load it later, I grab whatever resource is stored on the same path using the load method, cast it to a save game resource, then set the player's
Game loader.
position and rotation values to whatever is set on the loaded save game. Now I can open the game, walk around, click save, close the game, reopen it, then click load, and voila, we're right back where we saved. With custom resources, the only limitation is your imagination, and also the fact that you can't set custom resources as an export type yet in other scripts. That part still kind of sucks.
Wait, what? Allow exporting custom resources.
The only limitation is your imagination, and also the fact that you can't set custom resources as an export type yet in other scripts. That part still kind of sucks, though
Oh,
this might be
that's
resolved
actually weird.
before, we'll have to see. But anyway, the power of custom resources outweighs that limitation.
So they did
and
not have
hopefully
that
this
back
video gave you some
in the day.
ideas on how you can integrate them into your own game.
And here I am complaining. Quack. Okay, another guy. Another guy. That's also I don't know why. What? How to add him? Boom. We'll go and give him a like. Oh, I watched that already. I didn't know that. It was already watched. Just in case. So he uses the tree from the actual object that is being passed. So the thing that needs to have a behavior of some sort it has the actual like an attachment thing. Okay, and I downloaded this thing. Now, do we have anything else here? Oh, that's actually the same guy that we just watched before. It's 5 minutes. Okay, let's watch
Resources
this one.
in Godot are amazing. Resources are the powerhouse of Godot. Nodes get a lot of love and focus in Godot, and for a good reason.
Okay.
Most of the engine's features
Also, why
rely
it's
on
forgot.
nodes, but nodes don't do anything on their own. Nodes use data contained in resources to provide functionality. Resources are data containers, and they hold a huge number of different kinds of data. It could be an image, a script, animations, any property that you can export on a node, like strings, integers, or vectors, can be exported on a resource. And
Okay.
on top of all this, you can create your own resources as well. All you have to do is create a script, have it extend resource, and give it a name. Then, once you have defined the
Okay.
parameters, you can add it to any script you want and have it access that defined data. After that, you can go back to the editor, right-click on a folder, choose
So
New
he won't
Resource,
speak
then
about
type the name of your resource
probably
in the box.
the
Give it a
use
name
cases.
and hit save. Then you can give each field a value, and that's it. You've created a custom resource. But how can you access it? To do this, you can create an export variable in your script of the name of a resource, or it could just be of type resource. Then drag the resource to that export field, and that script will now have access to that data. Sounds great, but what value could this have for your game? Well, depending on what you're working on, there might be a ton of data for you to store. If it's an RPG, you have weapons, stats, enemies, and drop rates. All these could be resources that you could create and customize for each situation, so you
How?
don't have to redefine them all the time. These things can also be a CSV or JSON file as well, or some other database. Using a resource can give
I
you
think
amazing
next time I will start with
utility,
the database
and
for the
they
game.
don't need to be passed in like other data structures. They also inherit object and resources, which means they can do a lot more than just hold data. They can also define methods and signals. For me, I'm working on my FPS template and updating it for Godot 4. It's already available, by the way, and can be downloaded over on my website, shaftgames.com. In my old template, I had used classes and tried to create a node that could be used for both the physical weapons you could pick up and the weapons you could hold. The
Okay.
idea being one object, less work. But as a lot of you pointed out, this effectively locked me out of ever being able to add a character rig into the template. Not to mention this actually created a lot of work to change weapons. For Godot 4, I opted to switch to using resources because at the end of the day, my weapons are just data. And the only thing I really need to know is what animations to use for which weapon I have active. And the results show I've been able to effectively switch rigs on this template in 10 minutes or less. It would have been even faster if I didn't have to fiddle with the LOD bias after I imported my rig. Not sure what's going wrong there. It really is as simple as creating a new weapon resource, defining the animations, the ammo, and some other parameters, and assigning the animation player. There are other things to be done after swapping the rig, like adding the rigid body version of the weapon after it's dropped, but this is really an upgrade from what I was working with before, which was a bit of a mess if I'm being completely honest. So all of these resources are just a list of different kinds of animations. The ammo, damage, basically any behavior that I need to know about, whether it's a hit scan weapon or a projectile. And the weapon manager, which is just a state machine, will query the current weapon for the animation to play, the ammo to reduce, what kind of weapon to drop if you press the drop button. So since it's all abstracted, swapping the rig is just a matter of bringing in a new model, creating a set of resources for each weapon,
I don't
and
understand.
assigning them to the weapon manager. Also, if you're looking for a tutorial on how to set this weapon manager up, make sure to like and subscribe because I'm currently working on my biggest series yet, on how to make this exact FPS
Why is it called weapon state
management
machine?
system. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's exactly what I was going for with this asset. It's live right now on itch and also on my website, chaffgames.com. One other major announcement is that I recently launched my Patreon. I'm giving members right now access to the
Brain is
first
too
part
wide.
of this FPS weapon manager tutorial. I have episodes from creating the animation player, the weapon resource, all the way up to setting up the hit scan and projectile weapons in Godot 4. And I'm planning on expanding on that real soon. We're going to go all the way up to creating a fully fledged FPS weapon manager system. So, if you want to support me and get access to all these videos in advance, make sure to jump over to patreon.com/shaftgames. Other than that, I'll see you guys next week where we'll start going over setting up the animation player and creating our
Okay. Let's try whatever he had created. So, this is the thing. This is weird geometry. Anyway, let's just start the game and see how it plays. If there's a sound, I'm not gonna enable that. Also, it takes some time, by the way, right now here. Wait. Okay, it does not have any sound. No worries. Really low sensitivity. Okay. I can't destroy this one. Okay. Just curious what buttons he has. Okay, G to drop. I like how weird it is that it does not actually shoot sometimes. It's reloaded.
All my dreams have shattered on the ground. What I've lost, I know I'll never find. Your love, your
Okay, this is shotgun. Blaster and so weapon stack is actually what weapons do I have. Oh, weird. Where does it shoot? Oh, wait. Okay, it has different, like, weird coordinates. And now it broke. Okay, okay, let's see how he does that. So, example of world, player controller. So that's modular approach. Models, yes, bones, knees, whatever. Scripts. Target. What is this? Hmm. Okay, that's a target. Oh, okay, I understand. I thought this is the different thing. This is just a target. So physics objects, targetable objects. Okay, I reached by the 3D. Health and stuff. Okay. Box 1. So that's basically a box. Node and group target. Okay. I need to apply the impulse. I may need this, by the way. Okay, objects, world, mesh, world, target box. Okay, we saw those. Box skinny, kenny weapons. Okay, those are GLBs. That's a PNG, so those are like things. Okay, player controller. Spawnable objects, clips. Bullets. Bullet. Okay, let's see the bullet. It has nothing. Okay. Hit debug. That just red thingy. On timeout path, so it does nothing. Hit the bug 2, it's probably the one with the X. Okay, that's a blue X. Oh, it wasn't blue, it was red. Five bullets. Wait, if I'm not aiming. Okay, I hit 2 times. Good. 13. No bullets. And there is no way to exit the game. Okay. So they were red probably. Weapons. Okay, blaster. Blaster L, blaster M, blaster N. Good. And hit the bug I can close. Spray profiles. Okay. This is neat. Class name spray profile. Wait, but this is named 1. So how the second one is named? Oh, it has the okay. They have the same script. Brain Pattern Man's t-shirt. Nice. Get spray and count. Max count. And it does get noise 1G. Oh. What the hell is spray noise then? Okay, so he created the noise. Yeah, that's a weird way to make random. Random spray. What is random spray multiplayer? Export range. Okay, so he kind of makes this bigger, which is weird because you can't modify that. Okay, anyway, it's interesting. Not that I need it right now. So that's the world. There's enemies, weapons, ammo, character, and geometry, whatever it is for. Okay, that's probably boxes around the world. Yeah, and the boxes inside the world. Okay. Projectiles to load. Okay, basic hit scan. That's a projectile. What the hell's projectile? I am the projectile. Yeah, it has nothing. Only the script. That's a node. That's a 3G, but it's a projectile. Okay. Debug bullet. Hit the bug. Rigid body projectile. Bugged scene. Expiry time. Okay, when it's ready. Create expiry time, connect on timer timeout. Set projectile, fire projectile. Spread, range, okay, whatever. Rigid body projectile. So he here basically calls Rigid body projectile. Rigid body projectile, it's empty. Here it is not. Now set projectile damage, fire projectile, okay. So he does not change the code, he changes the argument somehow. Match projectile type, hit scan. Hit scan, okay, so this is weird. That's the thing that he spoke about probably to rewrite. Okay, let's have the shotgun projectile then and see how it works. It just extends the projectile. Wait, by the way. Okay, yeah, this one has a name. This one has also the name. So this one is standalone. Set projectile, damage, spread, vectors, range. Randomize, damage, point, spray, vector, get, point, count. Then go through again, make it a bit random, and then it calls fire projectile. Same as every other projectile. Okay. Spray profiles, health clips, weapon models, player character. Open animations. That's a resource. That is empty. Okay, character. Some UI, which I don't care. Okay, by the way, yeah, he probably just connects them by different thingies. Okay, weapon models. Okay, he has all the models already on him, but they're invisible. But they do not have the thing. Okay, here are the weapon resources. Okay, weapon change, update ammo, stack, hit, okay. Connect weapon to HUD. Melee, magnitude, weapon, list dictionary, weapon resources. The list of all available weapons in the game. Initialize, okay, so he goes my old way of the code that I did. Basically by having all the logics inside and having more custom initializers, custom like methods, typical, like all the stuff that you need to remember to do before you can do anything. So if you wish to have a new weapon, you need to remember to click all the fancy schmancy buttons, all the attachments, all the things that are actually you think needed. No, this is not the way. But the main difference, he has a workable prototype, but I do not. My initial prototype was more workable than current one. Okay, so weapons, spray. What the hell is weapons list? Wait, I was searching for something. I was searching for weapons list. There's no such thing as weapons list. Weapons in weapons resource.
Find my way through. So tough to tell. To let it go.
In this array of weapons resource.
Find my way through.
Weapons, that's a scene.
I was right this time.
Okay, this one is not stored, it's just being attached, and it has a list of resources. So it's scripts, weapon, state machine. Oh, I didn't look into this yet. Projectiles, shotgun projectile. Okay, I've looked into this. And state machine, of course. So hit the bug. On timeout, yes. Now bullet. Icon. Weapon resource. Okay, what I have here? There's icon that needs to be loaded. Resource. Weapon resource. Update overlay. Zoom. Okay. Weapon animations. So this is a database. Weapon stats, current ammo, reserve, magazine, damage, melee, fire range. Okay, weapons behavior can't be dropped. Okay, how do you drop a weapon, by the way? That's extra question that I have. Because you have everything for the object. Weapon drop. Okay, rigid body to spawn for the weapon. Okay, let's get the blaster. Weapon behavior. Projectile to load. So that's a blaster. Okay. Now weapon pick up. It has a collision shape 3D just so it could be picked up. Now weapon name. Integer. Pick up weapons. Weapon pickup. Weapon name, current ammo, reserve ammo. Okay. Those are parameters that needs to be saved. And weapon pickup is not the thing. So type weapon pickup false. Create timer 2 seconds. Pick up equals true. Okay, set ammo. Weapon name. Okay. Now, how he would... Oops. No weapon. How the ones that are on the floor are looking? Hmm. On the object is blaster. So that's the blaster. It has a blaster and stuff, and it has the script that has all the values, and they are already set. But then he has the behavior. And weapon stats. And then he has a scene that has stats, but they're not being updated in any way. Oh, no, it knows the current ammo. So that's what is weird. So there's a weapon. He has some ammo. Current ammo, reserve ammo. Hello, thank you for the follow. I found out one tutorial by some guy on YouTube, which is quite... The explanation was good. The code is not that clean that I would like it to be, because I mean the style, the naming, all the fancy stuff is a bit weird. Not consistent at least. And not by style guide, which is weird. So right now I'm trying to figure out how he does what he does, basically. The shooting and jumping and stuff, so I could replicate the design. I want to know how people work with resources, how they use them, how they use the component system base, how they kind of split the stuff by components. Because I'm currently struggling with this. I have too many options, then I decide, hey, it would be better with this option, and I switching, then I think something else, then I switch again, then I think something else. So I cannot keep myself in brackets. Not brackets, like in scope maybe. So that's my struggle, and right now I'm trying to see how people use that. My problem is that I know a lot of ways how I can do anything, and there's no correct way here. At least I didn't see one. And this is super annoying. So I'm trying to see. This guy has the example code, so you can also, I can share it if you wish. It's a website, or if someone actually wishes. So he has this thing that I couldn't like figure out in correct way. So he has the weapon resource. By the way, this is bad naming, I think. Generally, the weapon resource, it has like animations that are stored, the stats, good, and then the behavior. So, and here you can drop the weapon. So, and when you drop, there's a scene, and this is a scene. So if you click a blaster, it's a blaster, L or something. So it can be dropped. Okay. And the script is this: weapon pickup. I mean, okay, kinda. Wait, what is the name? Spawnable objects, they're here, so nothing changes except yeah, the code is the same, everything is the same, just the insides are different, and colliders maybe, and like the naming, of course. So that's the scene that he spawns, that how this stuff looks. Then there's a script, and there's like set ammo. Is ready timeout, pickup ready, true. Oh, okay, this is so if I drop the gun and I won't walk away, so it won't be instantly picked up. That's the cheat way of how to drop a gun and not to pick it up, because when it's gonna be spawned, it will instantly collide with the player, and if it collides, the player will pick it up. Okay, screw that, don't care. First of all, I have no idea why. Wait, let's check this out. I think if I take a gun, so I have a gun, 5 out of 10. Let's drop it. 1, 2, pick it up back. 5, 10. Now let's shoot. 2, 10. Drop it. Go away. 1, 2. Pick it up. 2, 10. Okay, so it saves the thing. Maybe it has like starter things. So probably the weapon manager or whatever it was called goes and updates this data, like default one. Nice geometry. Funny. I see another artifact here. Yeah. Kind of funny. See one more geometry artifact. This is so weird that if you stop holding forward, it stopped flying instantly without any acceleration and deceleration. Can I walk through that? Okay, so oh, by the way, the additional problem, I won't be able to jump on the box. The box should fly out from me. Yes, that's the reason why I don't like character body or whatever, character object. I pushed it through the texture. Also, it feels like that I have DLSS somehow enabled because I see the dot. Okay, so I pick this one up, drop, pick it up again, drop, Pick it up again. Reload. Drop. 1, 2. Pick it up again. Okay. Changed. So it works. Kinda. I just don't understand this idea about the resources right now. And I need to know how he put the resource on the floor, by the way. That's the thing that I wanted to see. So that's a blaster N. It's spawnable weapons blaster. So it's the same as when I drop it. 5, 10. 5, 10. 5, 10. Wait, I'm opening the script and I'm not clicking that. 30, 30, 99. So this is one of the examples that has infinite ammo. The activation, freeze. Okay. This one sounds a little bit like... I forgot how this game was called. The one in space with the same style music, but it was more kind of slow and sad of some sort. This is not okay. This is some Banjo Kid. So the resource, incremental reload. I have no. Okay, that's for the shotgun probably. Projectile reload. Rigid body to spawn for the weapon. It should be a rigid body of the type weapon pick up and have a matching spray profile. That's how it shoots, the recoil and stuff, and projectile that will be loaded into rigid body, but the class that handles the ray cast processing. If you have this one. What is it about? Children not selectable. Ammo. Okay, I see how he does that, and it's also not pretty. Is there like any project, like clean code project about what I need to do to pick up object and drop? And the resource. Okay, let's go back. Oh, nice one. Oh, Latvia. Composition, no more inheritance. I think I saw this one, Jacob Fox. Also, I saw this one, State Made Easy. No, resource gathering. Okay, okay. Oh, this is good. This is one of the elements that I stuck before.
We're going to be discussing in this resource gathering RPG course for the Godot engine.
Okay, let's
So
watch
we
this one.
have our character with a tool equipped. We can change our tools out simply by clicking.
I'm sure if I
on
should
the
watch on
hotbar icons
here
below.
and
So we
or
have
maybe
a
off
switch
stream.
between a axe, a hammer, and a pickaxe, and we can use these tools to harvest the nodes which are relevant. So a pickaxe, of course, being able to swing at a rock node, and you can see that when we harvest it, the pickup rocks.
By the way, I have this
we can
system
gather
in
those
my
as
Mages
resources.
vs Goblins.
Those get added to the inventory, represented
Or
on the
had.
top
I broke
left.
it.
If we gather other types of resources, those will be represented up.
And this
as
system
well.
I had
So
in
to harvest a
my
tree
space
resource,
game.
We need a normal axe. Note we're walking across a animated bridge here. So we're setting a lot of this up with tile maps and tile sets. Some of these objects are just dragged into the scene with collision shapes and some scripts added to them, like the trees. So these trees are different from the other ones because they give us a different type of resource. So you can harvest 5 of those, pick them all up, once again being added to the inventory. We're able to walk across these bridges and go to different terrains. And then down here, of course, we can harvest more trees. Another thing I want to point out about how we've set up the animations is that when we swap out a tool, we can use the same animation if it's relevant. So we switch to a different tool, and they can reuse the same animations because what we're changing is the position, rotation, and scale on the node rather than changing the animation on the tool itself. So that also saves in needing to animate some of the frames there. So that's basically the gist of what we're setting up in this project. Tile maps, tile sets, walkable player with animations, a hotbar, and a resource item display, complete with
Hey,
a basic
Tacito!
and a camera that follows the player.
I feel
in
that
this world set up
you are the
mostly
only one
with
here.
Tile maps and tile sets in the Godot 4 engine. So we'll go through every.
I'm just
detail,
going through
setting up
YouTube
the
and watching
scripts,
how
creating
different,
our nodes,
how
designing
the different people do different, the stuff that they need. Oh, you cheeky. Thank you for lurking. So yeah, generally, as if you didn't see, I can actually share this project. It's the guy has it publicly. So I found a guy on his YouTube video link. I shared it probably. So he has this thing where you can run, jump, and shoot with, and it has spray patterns also. As you can see, there's the red thingies. So yeah, and I decided like to look how he does the resource and stuff. So I can have a gun, I can drop it, and I can pick it up back. And yeah, that's the most important part for me that I wanted to know. And the code is not that good as I wanted it to be. Especially this style of code. At least it's consistent, so it's good. Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how other people do the stuff, about how they go about resources, spawning, despawning, having an inventory, and all this other stuff. So, by the way, this guy that I'm currently watching, I have no idea who he is, but I just saw that making resource gathering stuff. I hope he has somewhere. Tutorial, JavaScript download, full project with art pack. Okay, maybe it's available only for subs. Free for members. Creator 10 per month. I don't need to learn. I just wanna see your code. I mean, I could watch all of full video, but it would be way more beneficial for me if I could copy that. By the way, I also have a coffee, but it's not. Oh, okay. So they're free. Building system. World time plugin. All scripts for resource gather. Oh, okay. So this is members only. Okay, they are members only, and it's free for members. World time. This looks interesting, actually. I like this guy. Can I log in? Wait, let me try to log in. Oh, I cannot easily log in. Okay, let's try and figure out and guess my password. Gmail.com. Because I'm slowly going from the Edge browser to Firefox, back to Firefox. I kind of pissed about the Edge right now. Time to change. Then I'll probably go back to Chrome, then back to Edge. Maybe there will be Opera in between. Yeah, my today's kind of point, the start point was like that I just understood resources wrong. I was treating them as a database, and my last thought process was that they are not resources, they're not database, they're just data. So I should not have the stuff that I don't need to know on them. I can just, like, for example, I had this tile that had all the possible textures on it, and I could figure out every time, like, hey, what texture I should display depending on some attribute. So, and the resource knew how to do that. So, hey, resource, give me whatever you can. But it's not the way here, as I see it, as I saw it before at least, that I need to know just a state and the node that will render the actual my object, then being in the tree, will ask when it needs to what's the state, and we'll figure out what correct thing it should draw. Anyway, I'm logging in. I need to figure out, there's ads, perfect timing, of course. Let's click this button. It was Ko-Fi. Perfect. Copy. And then let's go here and paste. Login. Not now. Okay, I am logged in. Okay, you know what? I will actually allow that. Oh, I'm actually sub to some content creators and stuff. Home. I'm following 6 people. And I lost this guy. This is actually weird. I clicked login and it lost that guy. Tutorial G script download. Maybe this one. Can purchase these items. So, boom. This is me. And here is him. Can I, how to follow? Maybe I need to click this button. I don't need, okay, I just want to follow. Okay, let's see how active he is. Tips received. This tier adds in my pixel art packs for download that are normally available for purchase on each. Wait, okay, so we have H, so I can maybe get it from H. Not that I'm not willing to buy and see, I just wanna get how it works. Maybe let's watch. What is this? Okay, we saw this one. By the way, this is the guy's platformer if someone actually needs and like stops by. At least as learning experience, this is good. Wait, it works. I have 4.3 and it works. I mean, there are bugs, of course, but few days ago. Okay. How to follow? Yeah. Sorry, I'm too old for this crap. I don't know. And it's totally normal nowadays. We're not creepy. We're just going to a website that we're making that guy a pleasure by following him. 155, one supporter. Yo, this is huge. I have 0. But I am in process of creating my own company that's gonna, so I will hopefully go big. Okay, making research. Okay, that was it.
Designing our game level in this series. If you want to pick up the final scripts or the final project complete with the game art.
Yeah, that's that thing. So I'm experienced only in code, and I don't want to sell code, or at least I want to post it for free or something like that. So I probably will do the same stuff that this guy does. This one. Yeah. So I'm not sure. My current goal was to actually start doing YouTube videos. So, and I have already some ideas about Godot, but I need to finish my game to start that. At least some of it. I had actual ideas about how to go into IT, like the first project and the first kind of YouTube stuff that I decided to make, and I have all this, like, I have something written off even, that how you go into IT, how I started, how I saw people started, how, like, there are different ways of doing that, the most common one, the easy, the heavy, and like all that fancy, like what I know basically about how to do IT. Yeah, so maybe on this part here, some videos would be mostly for free, but at first I would publish them here as a private links or whatever. I'm not sure how it's done. I know that you can have private videos for members, and then later on you can kind of unblock them, or like publicly. So, but for now, I need to finish the game.
In the description below.
Then I could figure out what to do.
Just follow along from scratch, because we'll be covering all of the code in the videos.
What if I actually go and cover and like?
And in this video, I'm going to be showing all of you
by
how
scratch.
to create a resource gathering RPG inside of the Godot engine. So if you've been following my channel, you know I did a similar video with Unity engine as well.
I hate that I'm not signed in here.
More or less the same project now in the Godot
I know
engine
how to
for
do it
those
in
who
Unity.
prefer to use Godot
Could you
instead.
imagine that?
So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using my own art pack, Gatherer's Exterior RPG pack. It's not required to follow along, but it does have resource nodes, items you can pick up, tools you can use in order to harvest resource nodes, and a character with a swing and walk animation. That'll make it easier to finish this tutorial. So if you'd like to pick that up, you can find the links to it in the description. I'll also have the finished project at the end of this tutorial for download as well. Once again, though, it's not required. You can basically use whatever art assets you want for the project. So if you are going to be using the art pack, download the art-only.zip version. Since we're not using the Unity engine, we only need the art assets to bring those into Godot. So inside the zip, we have the art folder. So what I'm going to do is bring this into the file system for our Godot project. So to get to
wait, this starts the next one? No, it just shows
system,
how to prepare.
Find resources, // right click on that and do open in file manager. So this brings us
to where
we have the project set up. And we can create other folders we'd want in here.
Okay,
so
what if I go make a move, player character with animations, movement, level scene, follow camera.
7-zip or WinRAR. Just drag the art folder into the project. So this is now an art folder listed within art. I'm going to rename this to be Gatherer's Exterior so that we know what art pack we have set up inside of the art.
Day night cycle. I saw his profile has that. Making a player character with animation, movement, and stuff. Don't care about it. Level scene. Follow camera, raising scene and stuff. 4 directional player, animation, sorting. Animation 3 state machine setup. Okay, let's say animation
So basically, we have all of the 12 animations set up here.
state
What
machine.
we're going to need next is a animation tree. So right click on player and add a child node, animation tree. In our animation tree, in the
Oh, he
inspector,
will
we're gonna
use
go to
animation tree.
root, click on the drop down and do state machine. Next, be
That's
sure to
for
set-
animation movement. That's not it. I know this one. I already figured this out. So later, equip items and now to update. Okay.
Now what we need to do is that when we swing our pickaxe,
The
if
hardest
our
part for
area
me,
2D comes
the one
into
that I
contact
did like
with
in
our resource
10
nodes,
million,
such as the
like
rock,
10 different
then
ways
we want
already.
to actually harvest materials from the rock. So on our hand
Okay, so this
we're
is
gonna want
cheating.
to create a new
That he
script
hits
uses the
by
area 2D
collider,
and detects resource nodes when it comes into contact with them.
which
So let's
is
take the hand equip
weird
node 2D.
because it.
I'll click the add script button. And
Okay,
let's create-
by my understanding here, so what he said that he will hit the pickaxe, so there will be animation, and when this actually collides with stuff, it would work. I did something like that, where if it hits, so it in the some point in time it will be enabled. My spaceship harpoon on my current spaceship game had the same mechanic. So when it hits, when it's in some position of animation, it would actually be enabled. Then whatever it hits is being hit. Here, he actually hits the stone and like static objects, basically. Okay.
take the hand equip node 2D.
Maybe he's right.
I'll click the add script button.
I thought that maybe he can know that he's standing around the stone, and he cannot like mine the stone without a pickaxe. So basically, he if he's near the stone and he swings the pickaxe, then the pickaxe the stone will drop the resource on and in some moment in time. So in the animation, there will be some event like in the middle of mid animation, like hitting should be occurring.
Let's create that in character/hand-equip.gd. Okay, so inside of here on ready, we're going to want to get access to our area 2D.
Debugger.
So at on ready var, let's call this variable something like equip hitbox.
Okay.
Which is of course
How
going
long
to be
it
a
is?
type of
70
area
minutes.
2D. And we'll look for $area 2D to find the area 2D under the script as a node we can use. Okay, so in our hand equip script, I'm going to get rid of all this boilerplate code except the extends node 2D part. I'm going to click on area 2D here. Let's go to the node tab, which is next to inspector in the top right. And we want to choose body entered here. So when a physics body enters the area, we'll check if
Recently, I
it's a
stopped doing
resource
that,
node
by the
type,
way.
and if so, we'll run the harvest
This
function on
is
the resource
normal
node
only
get some
if I'm
materials
building
out of it. So let's
components and they
double-click
will be
on
closed
body entered
inside.
here,
So
and we're
whatever
gonna
is
connect it to
inside,
the
I don't
hand
care.
equip
But I
script.
still try
So
to
we should
make
see
it
this new function
as
come up here when you hit connect,
to
and
have
you
a
can click on
function
area 2D
and
see
to have
where we have
already
the signals
connect.
connected to. And you can
Do not
double-click
connect
to
through the
actually jump
signals
to the
like
function
that.
inside of the script if you ever need to. So we're going to check source node scene, and we want to attach a new script to this resource node. So I'm going to click on the add button for a new script. I'll call this script resource node.
Okay, so he basically makes the same stuff that I made from start, basically, when I created the spaceship and the rocks and colliders and things.
And just to give it something, let's give it a export var, and let's call it starting
nose is itching
resources
again.
as a integer. And we could default
Okay.
this to something like, let's just say 1. So by default, a resource node will have 1 resource, and later, when we run out of resources, we'll remove the node from the scene. So if we click on resource node here and go to inspector, we can see our starting resources value. So to go along with the starting resources,
Resource
we'll have another
node,
variable,
rock pulp.
current resources, which is also going to be of type int. And when our script starts, so function ready, we'll take current resources and set that equal to starting resources. So basically, when we add a resource node to the scene, whether that's when the level loads or any other time we instantiate it, we're going to start off its resource count with the starting resources
okay, so
for this node. Okay, so we'll come
It's
back
like
to the script and
HP,
add more
basically.
stuff to it later. Let's go to the player node and jump into the hand equip script. So inside of this, so we can check here if class name, because we actually created the class name in the script. So resource node is something
Oh,
we can
this is
reference.
so
And
cheating.
if the body is of
I
type
understood why
resource
he
node,
has such a
then we
name
want
of the
to
scene, actually,
harvest
like of the
from
root node of
resource.
the
So
scene.
when anybody enters our
Like
hand equip
Rocktol here,
area
it
2D
named.
for colliding with resource nodes,
It's
we want to
basically
check if the body
because
is of type resource node.
kinda
So we can do that by
it
checking
shows
if
what
body
class it is, but at
resource
the same time
node.
it
So
also
if the body is
shows
a
what
resource
object it
node,
is.
then
So
we can
he
call
will
any
have the same
functions
one
from the resource node class
with the
in
other
it.
thing.
So we can do, let's say, body.harvest, and then we'll give it a harvest amount.
This is
So
kinda
when the
not
item
composition,
equipped
but
to our hand comes into contact with a
interface
resource node,
by name.
we
So
wanna
he
check
kind of
if
still enforces
the
the
tool
stuff can enforce,
is
but he
capable
will remember
of
it.
actually harvesting from that resource node. So in order to do that, we also need to know what kind of
Okay.
tool or weapon or whatever we have in the hand is actually equipped to our character's hand. Equipped, we're going to change it to the
Okay.
right tool to harvest the right nodes. Now I also thought about it for a while, and we can go a step further than this by also making it so that some of that code will run in the editor. So when we change the equipped item in the editor, we can also update the texture immediately. But in order to do that, we would actually have to have the script attached to the equip sprite node.
Okay, how
Looking
do you do
through
that?
our animations, all of the properties that we're changing are already on that equip sprite texture. So if we look through here, there's actually no real need for the hand equip node, at least currently. So we can actually just move the script to the equip sprite node, make it extend from a sprite 2D, and then we'll be able to write that code that can update the texture inside of the editor as well. So that will just be one way we can actually make it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do here is take the equip sprite node and just move it outside of the hand equip node. But I'm going to have the animation window open here so that I can just watch and make sure that moving things around doesn't destroy the animation setup here. I think in the past it might have caused some problems, but now let's go ahead and move equip sprite up here. And you'll see that equip sprite still shows up there, even though we moved everything up. So it's not at the same position, but it's still being referenced by name. So if we hit play here, our animation still works completely. You can see that the hand equip node, we didn't really need it for anything. So let's take this script, the hand equip, and I'm going to, let's move it to the equip sprite. So you can just drag and drop from the code editor right here, and drop it in there. And then let's just rename this equip sprite to be hand equip. First, I'm going to delete the hand equip node, so let's get rid of that. And then up here, I'm going to rename this to be hand equip. Once again, having the animation window open to make sure that it handles the renaming of things there. So once again, in the past, like Godot 3, I think that when you rename stuff like that, it would actually break your animations, but now it seems to handle things really nicely and keep up with the new naming of the nodes. So that's super nice. So what we want to be able to do now with our hand equip node is to be able to set our resource here. So right now we can drop any resource into this node, but that's not what we want. We want to create a custom resource, which is a different type of script than a node script, because it is not going to attach to a node in your scene. It's actually going to be kind of a class you can create objects from, and those objects sit inside of your project rather than inside of your scenes as an attached script. So you could almost think of it as a scene you can instantiate, except instead of that, it's just a instead of a scene, it's just a data object. So I have an items folder created in my project. I'm not sure if I created that earlier on screen or not, but create a folder for items, and then we can right click into here and do a new script, and we're going to inherit from resource this time. And what we'll say
the most
here
important part
is equipable item.gd. So let's create that and double click on the script. So we extend resource here. You can think of this more as a data object rather than a script which enhances what a node can do. So it's not going to have the process functions or anything like that. If you're used to Unity, it's very similar to a scriptable object. So for our resource here, I want to give it a class name so we can be very specific about what kind of item can be equipped to the hand. So let's give it class name equipable item. So anything that is equipable, whether that's a tool or a weapon, will inherit from this. Okay, and then we can give it some data fields. So I'm going to do @export var and let's start with texture of the equipped item. And this is going to be a texture 2D. Okay, and maybe we also want a display name. So I'll do @export bar display name, and that'll be a string. So the reason you might have a display name variable is that how it actually shows up in game, how you want the text to show whenever you reference the item could be different than how you have the name of the resource saved into your project. You might have like underscores here, but that would look ugly in game. So having a custom string field for that
This
can be a
is
little
the
helpful.
same stuff
Okay,
that I
so now I'll
do.
just save that file.
And
now
texture,
if we
okay.
right-click on the items
No
folder,
scene, by the
we
way.
can go to new resource.
He does
and
not
look for
have a
the
scene.
type we just created, equipable item. So it extends resource. It's equipable item from the equipable item.gd script. So double click on that to create it. And you'll see that this new resource saves as a .tres file. So it's kind of similar to saving a node scene.
I guess
into
he
your
will
project.
have
So you
the
can use it
manager to
across your
spawn
game,
it back.
Except instead of instancing it, you're just referencing this store of data. So let's give it a name. We can just give it test item for right now. Our actual tools are going to have another class that will build on top of equipable item and have some extra stuff attached to it. But let's just create a test item for now. Hit save. Okay, so if we double click on the test item.tres, you can see in the inspector our display name and texture for this resource. So for the display
That's
name,
exactly
I'll just
what I
say
did.
test item.
So, okay,
For the
I'm proud
texture,
of myself that my
first let's
first
2D view.
approach
Let's
was
do
kind
something
of...
different than the pickaxe that's here
Okay,
standard.
not first, but
I'll go to tools.
okay,
and
more
let's
the
use
last.
hammer.png.
Thinking.
So hammer.png, just drag that into the texture slot. Okay, so now you can kind of see how this is setting up. We're giving details about what an item in our game actually is.
And he uses
Then
tool that
whenever
I
we need to
discussed
equip it, we have these
that
data
I
fields
like
we can use.
was
So let's
thinking
save everything and
a long time
click on
ago,
and
and
equip.
one of the
And we could actually drag this
like,
equipped
the
item
last
in
month
right
maybe
now. So if we go down
streams.
to items, you can see
That
we can
how
drag
do I
test
spawn the
item.trs
object
into this field.
and how do I
And
set
when
it
we do
up
that, nothing's actually going to happen because
on the
right
scene,
now,
so I
our
would
script is not
see
set up
how it
to
works.
do anything with it. It's just a equipped item. And right now it's still set to resource, so we could have used any resource. The
Also,
equipable
let's
item is a type
copy
of
this
resource,
link.
but there are other resource
I will
objects.
drop
Let's be
it
specific
just
now
in
and change
case,
this to
and
equipable
I will
item.
go and does
So
it
now by
monitor
specifying that class name, only
to
an
follow
equipable
him
item
from my
can
YouTube
fit this
channel.
field. So other types of resources
Now what we need
don't
to do is-
qualify, and that is handy for managing
because
things to
this
make
is
sure
right
we have
now
the
this
right
is the best.
items actually equipped to the fields that allow them. Now we can reset this field and drag it in again to show that we can still set that there. I guess we
Okay,
could do another
I missed what he did.
equipped and change this to equipable item.
Okay.
So now by specifying that class name, only an equipable item can fit this field. So other types
Yes.
of resources don't qualify.
I do
and
the
that is
same
handy for
thing.
managing things to make sure we have
How
the right
do you spawn it
items
back?
actually equipped to the fields that allow them. Now we can reset this field and drag it in again to show that we can still set that there. I guess we could do another test. I'll right click here, do new resource, and just do a normal resource here. So let's create that. I'll just save that. And then let's see if we can drag that into the field. We shouldn't be able to, so I'll drag new resource.tres into here, and you can see it doesn't qualify anymore.
Perfect.
So it keeps the resources that don't qualify out. Okay, let's delete that new resource. We'll never need that. And now we want to make it so that when we set a new equipped item, we actually update our texture on our sprite 2D node, which is the hand equipped node now. So if we go to the end of this export line and add a colon, then we can add setter and getter functions to this property field. So we want a set, and when we do a set function, we're going to need the new equipped item as a parameter. So new or next item. So as the parameter, I'll type in, let's say, next.
Okay, he
equipped.
needs that to
Okay,
react.
Give it a colon, new line, and now we can actually write the code. So when we set a new equipped item, what do we want to happen? The first obvious thing is that we want to take the equipped item field and set that to the next equipped. So the next equipped is the new item coming in, and the equipped item
I usually call it
is
value
the field
every time.
that is set in our script. And then the equipped item is the field set in our script. So after we change the equipped item, this field in here, we want to update the texture as well. So we're going to take the texture, and remember this is a sprite 2D node now. Oh, well, it should be a sprite 2D node, but we haven't changed the extend up here.
Yes,
so change
that's.
this to sprite 2D.
I was like questioning.
Okay. And now there should be a texture field. If you want to see all
It
the
still would
fields
work,
that
by
are
the
list,
way.
you could write it like this: self dot, let's say, texture, and then it'll automatically know where we're dealing with a sprite 2D node, so we should be able to
There's no
access
need
this
to have
texture
self here.
property. So let's do self.texture, and then we'll set that equal to, we could do the equipped item or the next equipped
By the way,
item.
I
We'll do
would
the
kind of
equipped item, 'cause this
enjoy
will also
having
verify
self.
that we've set it properly. So equipped item dot texture.
I would like to have self.texture everywhere, like self.something to like actually reference myself. But the problem is that GGScript actually complains when you shadow any variable, like kind of when the names overlap. So if I would have like global texture, like this self.texture, and I will have like local texture, like as a parameter here, it would complain. It would still compile, but it would be, I think, yellow warning or something. So, and doing self.texture, texture would actually, I think it would take not the one that is passed, but it would reference itself. So you won't be able to reference the second argument. It only references the first. Who was the first is the winner, probably. At least that's what I remember. And maybe I need to check that once more. But still, yeah, so this is useless here, and this is the thing I don't like
so
in
that's
Godot.
a field that we set up.
Not in
in
game,
our
like
resource
Godot breaking, but
script,
GGScript breaking.
the
But
equipped item. So just grabbing this field here, and then we're going to set that to the texture. So this part will actually already work in game. If we go to 2D view, you can see in the editor we have this pickaxe, but if we hit play, well, this setter function is going to get called, so we switch to the hammer already. And you can see, because of the way we set up the animations, it still works with this tool. Because we're just changing the position, scale, and rotation on the node. So
hello.
it's going to basically work with any
I'm
tool
watching
we
YouTube.
equip. It's going to function the same way for those animations. Now, how do we get it to work in the editor? Well, if we go up to the top, we can write this annotation at tool, which means that your code...
I decided to go through YouTube and watch all the tutorials that I can find, like that feels appropriate to the resources, composition, and all that stuff. At least trying to find high level. So first of all, I found an FPS kind of project, which I already closed. So if you actually wish, I have a link in chat. You probably see that. It's my chafmerh.io guy. So this is Godot tutorial. You have different weapons, and yeah, he used the composition here for the guns to have a shotgun, so you can switch the weapon, you can shoot. It has different patterns. You can reload, some reload animation and fancy stuff. So my question was like, how do you drop the gun and pick it up? So how he does that? Because it's internal. Yeah, there are some points in the wall. The guns are resources, and how does he spawn it back in and like back and forth? So it's completely free template that you can find. I don't like the naming and some other fancy things inside. Like it's consistent, so it's good, but I enjoy when they are like by community provided, basically. When the code style is the same as it says. I mean, why is that? Why is this like this? Why doesn't have the extension or some? Yeah. But the code works. It's good and it's playable and everything is fine. And there's like the actual scene, the nodes, the resources that can be watched in. So I figured how it works. I'm not sure that I like it, but it does what it needs to do. So now I'm watching another tutorial, which I'll enjoy. By the way, this is Chaff Games YouTube channel. He speaks about the shotgun. He says that he enjoys the shotgun and he tries to make a shotgun into the game, and how he would make bullets fly, because he didn't know how to use composition to implement that. Yeah, my problem would be just how you pick it up and drop it back. And here I found this guy, Chris Tutorial, which he has this Ko-fi page where he has like all the example codes and understand that you can have for free if you sub him. Like you get one subscription, just basically being a membership, and then you can see what he has and does. And he has like YouTube tutorial for free, which is for now it's exactly my thinking process, but cleaner. So I had a lot of questions while I was doing that. Today I had also some like improvements, but then I revert back because I don't know. And he has same thing, but it looks cleaner because like in my head it's still a mess. It's not combined. I know a lot of elements, but I still have questions about what other people do. And so this is really cool that I got this guy. And some things that he does are like, hey, I was thinking about it. I was actually testing it, and it was the same. Like now, the biggest difference right now here is that whatever he does, I had similar to that, but my resource had what to spawn, basically. I tried to have in the resource the scene that needs to be spawned. He does not have that. He has only a texture. So I want to know how it will go next, how it will work. But for now, it looks clean at least. So I'm enjoying this.
Code is going to run.
And he does the stuff that I also discussed like maybe a month ago. Like, what if I would make this as a tool that would update real time? So how my question was like, how do I have a resource on the screen? Because when I build anything on the screen and I will drag and drop the scene, and there will be a resource. Then if the scene is like generic for this resource, only when it spawns in, it will be drawn correctly. But before that, it will be something, some placeholder, which would be nice if I could see as it looks when I modify the scene. And he does that. I thought about it, but I didn't think that it would work, or I postponed it, or I wanted to try like other options. So yeah, and he actually does that. So this is super beneficial, super cool, and I'm really proud that I found this guy, and happy that I found this guy, and proud of myself that
you can specify,
can
as
do
we'll
this.
do later on.
Did almost the same
that
stuff.
certain code will only
I was close.
work in the in-game, and you can also specify if code will work in the editor. But by default, if you have this at tool, it's going to run in both. So for the tool scripts to work, what you need to do is close the scene and then reopen it. So let's go ahead and reopen the player.tscn scene, and you'll see that now the tool has been updated to the hammer texture from our test item. So that basically means that whenever our script loads, the set function is going to be called, and whatever item we have equipped, we're going to grab the texture from it. So this works both in-game and in the editor. So if we go hit play, well, you can see, of course, that we have that tool.
There's a way to check and make it work only in-game or only in editor.
Editor by default,
which I don't like because it's actually unchecked.
That was working. So, yep, we don't need to do anything like on.
I have no idea how it can be compiled.
Now,
compiled out.
I do want to kind of test for myself here is if we can have this tool script go ahead and, let's say, update another sprite. So I'm going to add a sprite 2D node as a test, and let's put it under hand equip. And then I'm just going to get that as a onReady var, or no, I guess let's make it a at export var. So at export var sprite 2D, which is a type of sprite 2D. And this will be equal to, well, no, we're going to set that in the editor, sorry. Okay, so at export var sprite 2D, we'll assign that to the sprite 2D node here. And what I want to do is take the sprite 2D.texture and also set that to
this dude is cool.
So let's see if this will run in the editor. I'm going to grab this node, hit W to move it out, and let's come out here. So I'll save the node, and let's close the player.tscn. Yep, save and close, and then reopen it. And let's see. Invalid set index texture on base nil. So did we set the sprite 2D node? Yeah, we did. Yeah, so I thought it might actually work like that, where you can't.
Wait, what? Oh, okay, I understand. He wanted to set the sprite on the child. The problem is the child is not ready yet. So you cannot set the child. And the other problem then, I actually have no idea what came first, but was it set? It was set. It was set to default thing.
Texture, open it.
Wait,
Close,
what did you
remove it.
set it to?
So let's see if this will run in the edit. Also set that to the next equipped dot texture. So let's see if this will run in the editor. I'm gonna grab this node, hit W to move it out, and let's come out here. So I'll save the
Now the
node,
texture is
and,
empty,
let's close the player.txt.
but it's set.
Yep, save and close, and then reopen it. And let's see. Invalid set index texture on base nil. So did we set the sprite 2D node? Yeah, we did. Yeah, so I thought it might actually work like that.
So you need to
where
subscribe
you
to
can't
the
really
event if
access
you
other
want to do that.
nodes. They do specify in the documentation right here. This
Code from other nodes. I like that I did the same stuff. I experimented and I checked that. And I actually read the same note on stream. Code from other editor doesn't run in the editor. Wait, okay, not this one maybe. The other node is limited. You can access the tree and nodes and their default properties, but you can't access user variables. Other nodes have to run in the editor. Yes, okay. I thought it will be about how it's tree and it's not ready yet, even if it's being. Okay.
but code from other nodes doesn't run in the editor. Your access to other nodes is limited.
But it's
So,
ready. Okay, I
basically, if you wanna add
wasn't
tool
correct, but
script to
still.
work, then seems like you're going to need to attach that to the node where you're actually changing the texture files. So that's why I changed it earlier by removing the node 2D and then just moving the script into the sprite node.
Smart.
Okay, worth testing. So let's get rid of that and this bit right here and just get back to what we had before. But what's important is that our equipped item thing is actually working here. So anything else we need to set up whenever we change the equipped item, we'll just add to this setter function.
So if I need the other tool, the way that he did, I can have this another node to be a tool, to have a script with it to be a tool. Then it will be also like having a running script, and then it itself can copy the thing from top or from below. I mean, then I can experiment on that if I need to.
So, for instance, in our equipped item, if we're like setting the attack damage,
or like
then
I
we do
can
something
have
like
in
attack
general
damage
something
equals
global.
whatever's in the equipped item dot attack damage, and that's how we'll keep our scripts updated with whatever item we have equipped. Okay, so the next thing we'd probably want to know with our equipped items is what type
Why
of
did it
equipped
attack damage?
item
There's
are
no
they
point of it.
actually. So we could make that
Oh, okay.
typing another field under the equipped item, or we can make the typing tied to.
There was no point about the attack damage because he can just read it directly from the resource. If the attack damage is local variable, you don't need to set it. You have access to it. Unless you wanted to display it on the screen at runtime. So this tool would change the attack damage on your character. But it's a tool, there's no point in it. You actually don't want to have an attack damage done on your character. Okay, this is, I mean, maybe example wasn't good.
So we can extend the equipped item class and let's say make like a tool class or a pickaxe class. And then inside of that class, we'll set up a function for when the body enters our area 2D, we interact with a specific type of node, such as a rock, and then we'll be able to harvest from that node. Okay, so now let's go to items and create our new script.
Let's go.
We're going to inherit from equipable item with 1p. And let's start with something like a harvesting tool.gd script.
Also, one note to myself. He does the tutorial like he speaks while he works. So he maybe experimented, prepared, and then does that. And for me, it's fine. It's completely cool tutorial, whatever. I like it. But my general idea was that why one didn't make a tutorial like that in the first place is that it's, in my mind, it's hard to watch. It's like only a specific type of people would watch it. Like it's kind of really narrow. It would be nice to like actually edit it out, to have the examples, to have some pictures, to have some animations and whatever. But I think in this case it's even better. So note to myself that I can try to make same stuff. At least I can experiment and teach myself on it. So I will make a tutorial, then I'll listen to it, then also stuff like that. It just note to myself.
The reason for this is that there'll be multiple tools like pickaxes and hammers and maybe like a shovel later on, which are all
No,
gonna
a
harvest
shovel.
from different types of nodes. So a lot of the code we can just rewrite. There's a lot of the code we can just write here inside harvesting tool.gd. We might not even technically need to create separate scripts for a pickaxe or a hammer. So let's start with this, create, and then we can edit our harvesting tool.gd. So every harvesting tool is going to have a harvest function, which is going to take a resource node, and it's going to do something with it. We'll pass for right now. I guess we'll add something like.
And he also saves the same stuff as I, like right save, right.
Damage, or we could call it like amount to.
Oh,
harvest.
dude, you're cool.
So let's say at export var, I'll say min damage, and let's make that an int and default it to 1.
Does he stream? Wait. I want to see him. I don't know how you, but I'm enjoying that. So creating tutorials, courses, assets, and scripts for game dev. Okay, animation art. Do you have anything else like extra links? No. I'm following. That's a message. Report abuse. No. Support membership. Yeah, that's. I don't know. That's pricey. I have no idea if there is a benefit or no. By the way, I'm following only 1 or 2 persons. Spies, I think, and there's Doigan Swift. Post shop. I need actually to use Ko-Fi more. From all the things that I try to do, the Ko-Fi is one of the best. Oh, dude. Tutorial. Oh. Maybe I should do the same stuff. I didn't know that you can provide services. Would be nice to see. Okay, he has Twitch. I'm blind. See, the problem was following. So he follow. He does videos. No, he has none. Wait, which one I followed? Oh, I'm streaming. Okay, that's why I don't have Twitch on this. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, that was an accident. That's a bot. Bot should not follow. Also, I don't know why I'm following the invite. I need to unfollow him too later on. Come on. Yep, button follow. Yes, okay, I'm following him now. He's on my list. And he has 1 follower. Get followed, nerd. And everything else, I don't care. Where his tutorial.
Then at export var max damage, and we'll make that an int and default it, let's say, to 1 as well. So when we actually harvest, we can randomly generate between these two values to make it a little bit more interesting. So sometimes when we harvest a node, we get 1 ore or wood or whatever, and then sometimes we'd get more up to the maximum amount.
Okay,
It depends on
so
exactly which tool we have equipped. Okay, so let's save that, and then we'll create a new harvesting item. So let's do new resource. So we're looking for a, okay, we haven't added the class name. So back out of that, class
Yes.
name, harvesting tool. Okay, now let's right click, new resource, harvesting. We got harvesting tool.gd, and let's create this as copper pickaxe .tres. Yeah, okay, we
I
can start
did
with
that.
now. So
I
if we
did the
click
same
on our
stuff.
harvesting pickaxe, we can see we have the display name. So we know this is a copper pickaxe, so we're gonna do copper.
I think I had the display name.
pickaxe.
It was
And then we
tooltip
gotta
or
set
not
the
in
texture.
tooltip, label.
So under tools,
or something like that.
we'll drag in the pickaxe copper here. And
Also
then
have
our min
code
damage,
sometimes.
max damage, we'll leave that set to 1. Now for a second, let's jump back over to the hand equip script.
Okay.
So whenever our area 2D has a collision with a body, then what we'll basically do is we'll check if the equipped item actually has a function to interact with a body. So let's do something like if
Okay.
equipped
I was
item
against that.
has method,
I was
and
hardly against
let's do
that.
something like interact with body here as the name
So
of the method.
here I broke. Here my brain goes nuts, and that's why I decided to go other approaches, trying to try, because okay, it's being hit by something, and I have the body, like I know what, like by what it's being hit, but I really don't wanna check for the method, like hey, if it has something. So I would rather has this. If it has a component. So one of the ways how I figure out it can be by having a component as a metadata, or just by looping and searching through it or something like that. But it's still a thing that I'm searching for a class. So this actual interaction part should be as a touchable thing. But it has a simple, so the has method it works. Again, I'm not sure if it would work in my game, in my design, by my design. At least the general approach is the same. So I just need to think if this has a method or like has in group or whatever would work. Also, by the way, the brackets are against the style guide.
So doing it this way, we don't necessarily check the exact class of the equipped item, but we just see that whatever script we have attached to it actually has this function. So we just need to make sure that if we're creating different types of tools or weapons, that anything that is going to
I would check a type. It's still not great, but
actually has this function here. So just a different way of doing things. So if the equipped item has the function, then we're going to run it. So equipped item dot interact with body, and we're going to pass in the body.
Okay, this is hand equipped, by the way. It has area with a collision shape. And there's a collision shape globally, by the way.
Okay, and then that basically passes everything
Of the player,
over
okay.
into our equipped item.
Oh, okay, so this is a pickaxe. Yes? Okay, yes, this is a hand with a collider. Oh, okay, one problem here that I was thinking about and I didn't figure this out. So he has a hand as a sprite, and then he has area and collision, like collider here on this thing. So he replaces the texture and the data like behind. But what if it's bigger or smaller? What if the collision shape is different? There's no kind of clean way of figuring out the collision shape by this point. Of course, I can have an equipable item can have a collider along the texture. But how do I go about it? I can have full area 2D. No, area 2D is a node. I can instantiate it by going new area 2D. Yeah, this is already messy. This becomes messy. At least in my head. Because, okay, this is simple because it has the same area shapes. I would actually ask him a lot of questions.
Script. So this basically passes the flow into whatever kind of equipable item we have that is going to use the interact with body function. So a harvesting tool is going to interact with bodies. So let's go to harvesting tool. And
I need to read his comments, by the way, also. To add a game inside the game. This is weird. It has like a lot of subs and... Okay, maybe this is not the most popular stuff.
Yeah, I guess we'll write that function down here. Function interact with body. It's going to take a body. Okay. And what we're going to check on the body is if it is a resource node. So let's go back to resource node up here. So we do have the class name resource node. So we'll check if the body has that. So in harvesting tool, we'll check if body is resource node, then we can continue. And I think for
okay,
right now,
that's a behavior of the body. Oh, that's a behavior actually.
Interact with resource.
So it can be a resource
node.
in itself.
Okay. So we can basically run the game and see if that will actually work there. So let's hit play and let's walk around and watch the output console. Okay, so let's try swinging at it. Okay, so currently it's not doing anything.
Because there are different...
In the player, we have this test item. The test item is still an equipped item. It's not what we actually want. It's not a harvesting tool.
Oh.
So you can see that the test
Nice.
item, which
Okay,
is just an
I thought
equipped
that
item, doesn't actually do anything.
Maybe he did
when it
change the
interacts
colliders
with
then.
a,
But they by default on the
when
same
it
one.
interacts with the body.
There
Let's
is.
try with the copper pickaxe. Drop that in there. So it updates here. Let's hit play.
This is cool.
And let's go walk towards that resource node and see if we get the interaction to occur. I'll swing at it. Still technically doing nothing. All right, so let's kind of debug that a little bit. I'll figure out what's going on. So first, let's jump into equipped item and let's see if we're getting here. Let's even see if the area 2D body entered is running at all. And then let's add in harvesting tool, add this little bit here where we'll see that if we're checking if it's a resource.
Wait, was it
node,
working?
So for, all right, so let's kind of swing at it. Still technically doing nothing. All right, so let's kind of debug that
Also,
a
you
little bit.
could enable the debugger on the screen.
So first, let's jump into equipped item and let's see if we're getting here. Let's even see if the area 2D body entered is running at all. And then let's add in harvesting.
Wait, that's
tool,
body
add this
entered,
little
not
bit here
area.
where we'll see that if we're checking if it's a resource node. So if we hit play, we can come down here and see that nothing's still happening. And I just noticed what's actually going on. So our area 2D isn't actually connected to our hand equip. Of course, that would be because we changed nodes. So we need to go to the node area 2D next to the inspector.
That's why I connect by hand.
And we need to reconnect.
Then it would fail instantly.
So connect that there. Okay, it's going to use the same function, but now the signal is actually connected. So signals can be connected like this, or it can be connected in code.
But it's
now
body
let's hit play
entered.
and see how far we get with our interaction. Okay, so we moved there, and the body is probably going to be something like itself. So let's see, what item is that actually? So our area already interacted with the body, probably the character's body. So we're just going to pass from there, and then we can continue. Okay, so now we're going to check if the body is of a type resource node.
Yes.
So it is passing into harvesting tool.
But it won't work.
So let's continue from there. And let's see, did we get the output?
No.
We did not, because it checked that the body was not of type resource node. So let's watch the output still. And I'll go back to the game. And let's actually walk towards those resource nodes. So when we get here, we get interact with resource node. Up here, interact with resource node. And here, interact with resource node. Now, of course, we don't want the interaction to occur all the time. We only want it when we're actually swinging
that's not the body. That's
the pickaxe. So that'll be something we set up in a minute.
Wait, what version is
But
this?
so far, we
4.0.
actually are getting this
Okay, maybe it
interactions, which
had
is good.
one.
So next, if we know that we are interacting with a resource node, we want to
Okay.
check what type of resource node the body is, or what tools it can be harvested with. So to do that, let's create some classifications for what type of resource node our rock actually is. So obviously we want to say it's a rock. So what we can do is create a resource node script.
That's
which
a
will
rock.
Identify our resource node as a rock, and then create a field, drag it in here, say that this resource node is a rock. Okay, so now in our resource
what
types
field?
folder, let's right click, new
Wait,
script.
what?
So let's drag it in here, say that this resource node is a rock. Okay, so now in our resource types folder, let's right click, new
You will add it right now.
script.
Okay, I thought like,
So let's
what?
create
You have
a
a
script
number
for
of
our
what?
type, and what we're going to call it is something like type of, I guess we'll just say node type.
Oh, I remember how I hated the
yeah, we can
folder
do that.
with name object. Because it
Maybe
makes
resource node
sense,
type,
but
actually.
many
So resource
languages like
underscore
Java or
node
C Sharp,
underscore type.
you will eat
Okay, now we'll double click into
dicks
there.
probably
We'll
when
do
having that.
class name here, which is going to be
Not because of the folder, but just
resource
because
node
a word
type.
object is reserved,
Save that.
and having
And,
that
then we can
brings some
right-click in
pain.
our types folder and start actually creating those resources.
Especially when I
So
didn't know
new
English
resource,
well. I don't know
resource
it
node
yet
type.
still, but
So the first type we'll create in here will just be a mineable type. So this could be anything from a rock to a ore vein,
rock
or
bottom.
just anything you can swing a pickaxe at. If you want to be more precise, you could call it rock type, or an ore node
I like that
type, or
he calls
ice
it
crystals
types,
type,
but I
whatever.
would call it like
But I think
behavior,
this
so
will
it's
be
mineable.
specific enough for our purposes. So let's hit save here. Okay, now we have this type. We need to assign it into our resource node rocktall. So in resource node rocktall, let's add a export variable at export var node type, and we'll say resource node type as the resource that we're going to set here. So Control S to save that. Now we can click on our node, and we can assign the node type here. We could actually make this an array, even if we wanted to, having
That's what I
multiple
thought,
node
like,
types per
array
nodes.
of behaviors.
So we'll just drag mineable.trs into here. So now we can just check if we're interacting with a node. If it's a mineable node, then we'll be able to mine it with a pickaxe. So let's hit Control S.
As in 3 minutes.
And then let's go back to the harvesting tool. And here we actually are going to need an array, because a harvesting tool like a pickaxe may be able to interact with multiple types of node types. So let's add a new export var, let's say affected nodes. And this will be, if I'm doing this right, an array of resource node type. Okay, and then save. Okay, now let's go back to the player scene, and we'll look at this. So we have the affected nodes here in the
So that's why it's a type, it's not a behavior.
So we can actually edit it here. So let's click here and add one node type, and that is going to be mineable.tres. Okay, cool. So that should be all we need there. Now back on the resource node, as I mentioned, we can make this an array as well. So just in case we ever need to have multiple types per node, let's do that as well. So an array, and then square brackets of resource node type, and then we'll change node type to node.
But now
types.
you will
Then we can
have
just take the array and expand its size to
double
1,
for each.
drag in mineable.trs
Like for each instead of for
into
each.
here, and that's all we need to do to set our resource node as a mineable type, and then specify for our copper pickaxe and items that it can affect mineable resource node types. So what
By
we'll do
node types, I'm thinking right now
is
about
whenever we
tags.
have a match, then we'll allow the pickaxe to interact with the mineable
But I like how
nodes
he has
a
tags as
rock. So in our harvesting
resource.
tool.gd, we're going to check if the affected nodes, or affected types, I guess we should say. Yeah, let's call that affected types. Control S, and I guess we need to reset it here. So we'll just
the last
add
one
everything back
probably
in,
will update
to the array.
because it understands the
We'll check that
renaming.
if whatever's in this
But
array
only if you
matches
don't
at
move it.
least one in the resource node, then
I
we'll
think.
actually interact with that node. In this case, that's going to mean we're going to run the harvest function on the resource node. Okay, so what we can do is loop through all the affected types and see if the resource node matches any of them. So for type and affected types, and let's make sure that has 1p there. We'll check
Also, type
say
is
body
in many languages
dot
is
node types
Reserved.
dot has.
So you cannot use that.
Okay, since that should be an array. And we'll check if that has the type. That's going to be an if statement. So if the body node types has the type, then we're going to basically allow it to interact with the body. So we'll print, let's say, match found at type, and let's do type dot resource name, and on the node on plus body dot name. All right. Okay, let me expand that so you can see the whole line here. So we check for all of the types. If the body has any of those types,
If the body hit the
like
floor,
mineable, then we'll match
Add
the type,
starting
and then
soon.
we can do something with it, like do resource node dot harvest. So we'll probably move the harvest that will actually run first. Let's walk over to our resource nodes. Okay, and then we have match found at type. Okay, it didn't actually give us a name there on resource node rock tall, but we are getting those matches, so that's good. So why doesn't this work? Can we do just plus type then?
because
Let's see if
resource
we
does
can
not
do,
have a name.
String on the type. So just converting it into a string, will that work? And then let's walk around. Let's get that. Nope, that's just the resource ID. So what we might want is a display name on the resource node type. So let's give all of them a export var display name.
I think
which is a
resource
type
name would
string.
be a resource node
Okay,
type
and now we
if
can
you
click on
teach it inside.
mineable.trs and just say mineable. Okay. And then in
maybe
our
that's a bug.
harvesting tool, we just want to do type dot display name. Okay, now let's hit play. Now let's walk over here. And now we can see match found at type mineable on resource node rock tall. Okay, so that's good. We can basically harvest the nodes now. We just need to create the harvest function. So as I mentioned, I'm going to move the harvest function over to the resource nodes, since every resource node can be harvested, and I guess it makes more sense to do it at that level. So let's do resource node.gd, and I'll paste in the harvest function. We don't need to know the resource node. We're already on the resource node, but what we do need to know is amount, and this is going to be a integer. So we need to know how much we want to harvest from the node. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll take the current resources and subtract, so minus equals the amount. And then once we run out of resources, we do want to remove the node. So we can do that as a setter function. So let's do set value. So we're setting the new value. If value is
Okay, this
less
is
than or
basically the
equal to
mining
0,
part.
so if the value is less than or equal to 0, we're going to queue free on the node, which basically just means remove the node from the scene. So our harvest function.
Okay, in
we
my
remove
experience,
the
this
resources.
may
If some of
break
resources
the
drop below
other
0,
part
it's gonna
because
remove it
okay,
from
it's
the
still
scene.
gonna be
And
Q3.
later we'll also
It should
add in,
work.
like, an
Okay,
animation
no
here so
worries.
that, when it is removed, it'll be more obvious than just disappearing immediately. Okay, now back in harvesting tool.gd, we already know that it's matching, so we can remove this kind of debug. Unless you want it to be there, I think we could still do like print debug. And then let's come down here and do body dot harvest, and we're going to do harvest on the amount. So we have the min damage and the max damage. We need to do a random integer value between those two. So let's do rand I dot range or underscore range. And the
Good
range
night.
is the min
Thanks for
damage
stepping by to see that. Happy
to
to see
the
you every
max
day,
damage.
of every
So
time,
let's
of
give a
every
comment
stream.
here. If
I will
the
learn, and I will
body
then give you
interacted
the game.
is a resource node that matches one of the affected set between the min and
I have no idea why I have such excitement of watching the tutorial, because usually I feel bored. This time he actually shows what I kinda know, but with on his own example maybe, and I see how it works. So okay, this is super weird
max amounts for
to me,
this
but I am
tool.
enjoying
And
that.
I'm actually going to take this bit here. Let's do a Control R and do a find and replace. So we're going to take min damage, and we're going to.
So I need to research
that
this guy.
with,
I actually like it.
let's
Like
say
it.
min
Like it.
amount.
I would ask a lot of questions about what if this, how you would do this on your own example. So I would do that.
Replace all, and let's also do max damage and replace with max amount, replace all. I think that's just a little bit clearer. We're not exactly damaging a node, though that makes some sense. We're just harvesting it. So I'm going to use min amount and max amount as the words here. So to finish that comment, between the min and the maximum. All right, cool. Okay, so let's test that out. In our player scene, we can see that the copper pickaxe has a min amount and a max amount of 1. So every time it hits a node, it's going to generate exactly 1 resource, which in this case just means removing it from the node so far. And then the rock resource has a starting resources of 1. So if it gets hit once, it should remove from the scene. Let's hit play and test that out. So let's go up to our nodes. I'll run into it. Oh, boom, it got harvested. And we can see the debug message there in the console. Let's harvest some more resources. Boom, harvested. Now, that didn't really do anything yet. It's just decreasing an integer value. But now that we know that we're interacting with it, we can actually generate the resources, pick them up, add them to the player's inventory, and then we'll kind of be on our way to getting this resource harvesting thing going. So let's go up to our node.
Okay, so interesting part here is that he has the same inventory as me, like the visual. Oh, this is such a good find. Wait, I didn't want to click that.
So let's go up to our nodes.
I want to... Oh, there's no description on the video. Oh, this one has more comments. Making inventory So this is a resource. Wait. Oh, I have so many ideas right now. For some reason, I knew that the resource that I'm picking up is the resources that I'm picking up are the resources of a type resource, but that the UI on itself that's displaying the stuff is a resource. This can be worked on. Then I can have a signals there like changing values and stuff. One year, okay, that's super cool. I may end stream here just to have a tea and to go to sleep, but I probably will watch his tutorials off stream, just in case if I don't know anybody cares. That's his tutorial. Let's click his channel. Game development and PC software tutorials. Can find my plugins for Godot on Ko-Fi and Patreon. And typical topics include GIMP, DaVinci, Resolve, Unity Engine, Unreal Engine, Blender. Yeah, okay, he knows a lot about game dev. More about game dev than actual software. By the description. 5 years, 6 years, 1 year ago. 3 weeks ago. This is the latest one. Grid Builder for on 2D Grid plugin. A one world time. Ageable objects. Oh, this is so interesting. I have many ideas how to do it. I didn't experience any problems right now about with this, so I don't know. Maybe I should think about it myself, then watch his tutorial. Time, object, old age. Object age states in Godot. It will have same about HP. How to rotate 2D objects by player input. Oh, those tutorials are super great, but they can be short. Have no idea what it is. I mean, somewhat. OBS tutorials, how to. Maybe he stopped. No, then he would have any. He would have videos. Remove background noise. And he has shorts. Maybe that's how actually he got his tons of views. Maybe not tons of views, but 52k views. This is 1 year ago. This is the latest one, 1.7, 1.6, 1.2, 2k views, 3k views. Okay, that's at least that's billions of times more than me, but platformer crash course. I don't like those, but that's Unity even, but 7 hours. And it has most views, by the way. Nice. For more links, so H, Patreon, all links, and Twitter. He doesn't have Twitch here, only H. And he has his own name. Nice. Anyway, ending up here. Good night. Gonna watch his tutorials a bit more. And we'll have some tea. And hopefully tomorrow I will start doing this stuff again. Every day, tomorrow. But at least some progress. At least some knowledge was being sucked in. So